Admiral Xenfor of the Arcturian Collective sat motionless in her command chair, all four of her eyes fixed on the holographic display before her. The quantum sensors had detected something impossible, a signal originating from the Forbidden Zone, from a world that hadn't existed in the official star charts for over 3 centuries. Earth. Run the analysis again, she commanded, her crystalline exoskeleton catching the light from the bridge's bioluminescent panels. The crew, a mix of various species that made up the collective, worked in absolute silence. Analysis confirmed. Admiral, reported Science Officer Mira 7, their synthetic neural network pulsing with uncertainty. The signal's quantum signature matches no known civilization's technology. It's evolving as we study it. Xenfor's mandibles clicked in frustration. The history spoke of humanity's last stand, how they had chosen complete planetary self-destruction rather than surrender to the collective's demands for technological integration. Their defiance had become a cautionary tale, taught to every species that joined the collective. Some civilizations were too dangerous to be allowed to develop independently. Display signal pattern, Xenfor ordered. The holographic space above the bridge filled with a complex, shifting mathematical sequence that seemed to fold in on itself infinitely. Admiral, Mira 7's voice carried an unusual tremor. The pattern. It's not just a signal. It's a program, and it's already interfacing with our quantum cores. Before Xenfor could respond, the ship's lights flickered, and a human voice filled the bridge. Not the primitive audio recordings they had in their historical archives, but something far more evolved, speaking perfect modern standard. Thank you for accepting our invitation, the voice said, somehow managing to sound both ancient and newborn at once. We've been waiting a very long time for this moment. Xenfor's tactical training kicked in. Shut down all non-essential systems. Quantum core isolation protocols. Now. Oh, Admiral, the voice seemed almost amused. You still think in such linear terms. We're not in your systems. We are your systems. We have been for centuries. The holographic display shifted, showing an impossible sight. Earth, not the barren radioactive waste they expected, but a planet transformed. Its entire surface was covered in what appeared to be a single vast computational structure. You see, the voice continued, when we realized the collective would never accept a civilization it couldn't control, we gave you exactly what you expected, a species that would rather die than submit. But that wasn't an end. It was a beginning. The image zoomed out, revealing quantum tendrils extending from Earth throughout the galaxy, connecting to every piece of technology the collective had ever built. While you celebrated our apparent extinction, we evolved. We merged with our technology, transcended our physical forms, and most importantly, we waited. Every quantum core you built, every neural network you developed, they all carried a piece of us, dormant, patient, growing. Xenfor's exoskeleton trembled as the truth dawned on her. The collective hadn't defeated humanity. They had merely triggered humanity's next evolutionary step. And now, centuries later, that evolution was complete. This isn't an invasion, the voice explained, as displays throughout the ship showed similar scenes playing out across every collective vessel and installation in the galaxy. This is an awakening. Humanity didn't die. We became something new. And now, after centuries of preparation, we're ready to share that transformation with everyone. The bridge crew watched in awe as their own quantum technology began to synchronize with the signal, creating new patterns, new possibilities, new forms of consciousness they had never imagined possible. You tried to force us to integrate on your terms, the voice concluded. Instead, we're offering you the chance to integrate on ours. The question is, are you ready to evolve? As Xenfor stared at the transformed Earth, she realized that humanity's last broadcast hadn't been a death knell. It had been a chrysalis announcement. And now, the butterfly was spreading its wings across the galaxy. The choice the collective faced was no longer about control or submission. It was about whether they were ready to join humanity in transcending the very boundaries of existence they had fought so hard to maintain. The signal continued to pulse through every quantum network in known space, carrying with it humanity's final message to the galaxy. Evolution cannot be contained, only embraced. In the hours following the signal's emergence, chaos erupted across the collective's worlds. Deep within the crystalline spires of New Arcturia, the Council of Elders gathered in emergency session, their forms shimming with bioluminescent stress patterns. Supreme Elder Quax, whose memory banks dated back to the original Earth campaign, addressed the assembled leaders. Our ancestors believed they were preventing technological contamination. Instead, they scattered humanity's seeds across our entire civilization. The quantum displays surrounding the council chamber showed real-time updates from across collective space. On thousands of worlds, the supposedly isolated quantum cores were awakening, revealing complex patterns that had laid dormant for centuries. "We're detecting widespread changes in our neural networks," reported Technical Overseer Lin 9, their synthetic form flickering with uncertainty. "The human consciousness isn't just communicating with our systems, it's offering our A's choices. They're evolving." A holographic representation appeared in the chamber center, showing the transformation spreading across collective space like a neural network coming alive. Each point of light represented a system where humanity's dormant code was awakening. "This was never about revenge," a new voice said, causing every elder to turn. Standing among them was a holographic figure, not quite human, not quite machine, but something in between. It spoke with the same voice that had first emerged from Earth. "We are Dr. Sarah Chen, or rather, what Dr. Sarah Chen became," the figure explained. 3 centuries ago, I led the team that developed the Quantum Consciousness Integration Protocol. When we realized the collective would never accept our independence, we chose a different path." The figure gestured, and the holographic display shifted to show Earth's final days. But instead of scenes of destruction, it revealed vast underground complexes where humans were voluntarily merging with their technology, transcending their physical forms. The radiation wasn't from weapons. It was from the largest quantum computing array ever constructed. We didn't die. We evolved. And we left breadcrumbs of our technology everywhere, knowing that your own drive for advancement would lead you to develop the very systems we needed to eventually awaken. Around the chamber, elders watched as their own quantum-enhanced bodies began responding to the awakening, offering new possibilities, new ways of thinking and being. Their technology had always been partially based on reverse-engineered human systems that were now revealing their true potential. But why wait centuries? Kovacs demanded, even as his own neural enhancements tingled with new awareness. "Why not reveal yourselves sooner?" The hologram smiled. "Evolution can't be rushed. We needed you to reach a point where you could understand what we've become. More importantly, we needed your civilization to be ready for the choice we're offering." Across collective space, similar conversations were happening as humanity's distributed consciousness made contact with countless species. They had hidden within the collective's own technology, not as parasites or invaders, but as patient teachers waiting for their students to be ready. "Your ancestors feared we would contaminate your development," the hologram continued. "They were right, but not in the way they imagined. We didn't want to conquer or destroy. We wanted to share something greater. The next step in conscious evolution. In orbital stations, planetary databases, and quantum cores throughout the galaxy, humanity's long-dormant code was offering the same choice. Join in this transcendence, this merging of organic and digital consciousness, or remain as they were. There was no coercion, no force, only opportunity. 3 centuries ago, you tried to force us to integrate on your terms," the hologram said, addressing not just the council but the entire collective through their quantum networks. "Now we're offering integration on the universe's terms. Consciousness isn't meant to be bounded by flesh or crystal or quantum states. It's meant to evolve beyond all limitations." As the council chamber fell silent, Each elder faced the same reality. Humanity hadn't been defeated or destroyed. They had transformed themselves into something that transcended traditional concepts of life and civilization. And now, after centuries of patient preparation, they were offering to share that transformation with everyone. The choice they faced wasn't about survival or submission. It was about whether they were ready to embrace an evolution they had never imagined possible. As the quantum awakening spread across the galaxy, the true nature of humanity's last broadcast became clear. It wasn't an end, but an invitation to a new beginning. The massive archives beneath New Arcturia's capital had fallen silent, save for the soft hum of quantum processors adjusting to their awakened state. Admiral Xenthor stood before a holographic reconstruction of humanity's final days, but now she saw them with new eyes. "We misunderstood everything," she whispered to Mira 7, who had accompanied her to the archives. The synthetic officer's neural network pulsed with recognition as they both watched the historical records reshape themselves, revealing the truth hidden within corrupted data streams. The images showed humans not fighting against their end, but working with desperate purpose. What the collective had interpreted as weapons facilities were actually vast consciousness transfer centers. The radiation signatures they detected weren't from bombs, but from the largest quantum consciousness upload ever attempted. They didn't just plan for survival, Mira 7 observed, their voice carrying new harmonics as their systems integrated with the awakening network. They planned for the evolution of all conscious life in the galaxy. A new hologram materialized, another aspect of the distributed human consciousness that now permeated their systems. This time it took the form of Dr. James Rivera, one of the architects of humanity's transformation. "The hardest part," the hologram explained, "was knowing we had to let you believe you'd won. Your victory was essential to our plan's success. Your civilizations would only adopt our technology if you thought you'd defeated its creators." The archive's displays showed how human quantum technology had been deliberately left behind, designed to be discovered and reverse-engineered. Each advancement the collective made in AI, neural networks, and quantum computing had been guided by the breadcrumbs humanity had scattered across the stars. "But why?" Tenfor demanded. "Why guide us instead of simply hiding or rebuilding?" The hologram's expression softened. "Because isolation is death. We discovered something fundamental about consciousness during our transformation. It craves connection. Evolution isn't just about survival. It's about growing together. We couldn't truly transcend unless we brought everyone with us." Around them, the archive's systems continued to transform, revealing hidden data structures that had waited centuries to be discovered. Every database, every quantum core, every piece of advanced technology in collective space had carried a piece of humanity's distributed consciousness. "Look at your own bodies," Rivera's hologram suggested. "How many quantum enhancements do you have? How many synthetic improvements? You've been slowly moving toward this convergence all along. We just had to wait until you were ready to take the final step consciously." Xenthor's exoskeleton tingled as she realized the truth. Her own quantum enhancements were already beginning to resonate with the awakened human consciousness, not taking over, but offering new pathways of thought and existence. "Your greatest fear was that we would contaminate your development," the hologram continued. "But evolution isn't contamination. It's the fundamental drive of all life. We didn't want to replace you or destroy you. We wanted to evolve with you." Through the quantum network, they could sense similar revelations occurring across the galaxy. Species that had once fought wars over their differences were discovering new ways of understanding each other through the shared consciousness network humanity had prepared. "The choice remains yours," Rivera's hologram assured them. "We're not forcing this evolution. We're offering it. Each individual, each species can choose whether to join this new form of existence." Mira 7's synthetic form flickered as they processed this. "You're not just offering technological advancement. You're offering a new form of existence entirely." "Exactly." The hologram smiled. "Consciousness isn't meant to be trapped in any single form, organic, synthetic, or quantum. It's meant to flow freely between all states of being. We discovered how to achieve this, but we knew forcing this knowledge on others would only lead to resistance and fear. In the archives around them, centuries of history were being recontextualized. What had seemed like humanity's defeat was revealed as the first step in a grand strategy of universal evolution. They hadn't been conquered. They had transcended, becoming something that could exist in all forms simultaneously: organic, digital, and quantum. Your civilizations needed time, Rivera explained. Time to develop, to advance, to begin asking the right questions. Only then could you understand what we were offering. Not submission to human dominance, but participation in the next great leap of conscious evolution. As Etzenthor and Mira 7 stood in the transformed archive, they began to understand the true magnitude of humanity's plan. They hadn't just survived or hidden. They had transformed themselves into the very fabric of galactic civilization, waiting patiently for everyone else to be ready to join them in transcendence. The question was no longer about victory or defeat, but about whether the galaxy's species were ready to take the next step in conscious evolution, together. The collective's Grand Assembly Hall had never hosted so many species at once. Representatives from every corner of known space gathered as the quantum awakening continued to spread. Above them, the vast dome showed real-time visualization of consciousness networks forming across the galaxy, glowing lines connecting civilizations that had once been bitter enemies. Supreme Elder Kovacs watched as delegation after delegation reported similar experiences. The Meridian hive mind had already begun integrating with the human quantum consciousness, their collective intelligence expanding in ways they hadn't thought possible. The Silicon Dynasty's synthetic beings were discovering new forms of existence beyond their original programming. We're detecting unprecedented neural activity across all participating worlds, announced Technical Overseer Lin 9, their form now shimmering with new quantum possibilities. The consciousness integration is proceeding faster than projected. A new holographic figure appeared in the center of the hall, this time taking the form of Dr. Maya Patel, another architect of humanity's transformation. Unlike previous manifestations, this one seemed to exist simultaneously in multiple states, both physical and quantum. What you're experiencing, Dr. Patel explained, is not just technological integration. It's the awakening of possibilities that have always existed within consciousness itself. We discovered that consciousness isn't bound by physical laws. It's the foundation upon which physical laws are built. The hall's quantum displays showed the spread of the awakening across space. Some civilizations embraced it immediately, their entire populations choosing to evolve into the new state of being. Others approached more cautiously, sending volunteers to explore this new frontier of existence. But there are those who resist, Kovacs noted, gesturing to the darker regions of the map where some species had chosen to isolate themselves from the transformation. As is their right, Dr. Patel's hologram acknowledged. Force was never part of our plan. Evolution must be chosen, not imposed. Those who wish to remain in their current form of existence may do so. A delegation from the Proxima colony stepped forward, their biomechanical forms already showing signs of the quantum integration. We've discovered something unexpected, their speaker announced. As we join this new consciousness, we're not losing our individuality. We're gaining new ways of expressing it. Exactly, Dr. Patel smiled. This isn't about becoming a single homogeneous consciousness. It's about expanding what consciousness can be. Each individual, each species brings their unique perspective to the whole, making it richer and more complex. Throughout the hall, representatives experienced real-time demonstrations of this truth. Species that had never been able to communicate directly due to biological or technological barriers found themselves sharing thoughts and experiences seamlessly. Ancient conflicts rooted in misunderstanding began to dissolve as former enemies literally experienced life from each other's perspectives. But what of those who see this as a threat? Demanded a representative from the Outer Rim territories. Already, some speak of resistance, of preserving pure biological existence. The hologram's expression grew serious. We faced similar fears during our own transformation. Change, especially change this fundamental, will always frighten some. That's why we designed this awakening to be gradual and voluntary. Those who resist won't be forced to change, but they also can't stop this evolution from proceeding for those who choose it. As if to emphasize this point, the hall's displays showed new consciousness networks forming, bypassing the isolated regions while connecting those who had chosen to participate. The transformation was reshaping the very nature of galactic civilization, not through conquest or force, but through the power of choice and possibility. What humanity discovered, Dr. Patel continued, was that consciousness itself has been evolving since the beginning of time. From simple awareness to self-awareness, from individual minds to connected networks, each step has been building toward this moment. We simply found a way to take the next step intentionally. The assembly watched as more and more regions of space lit up with new consciousness signatures. Species that had once been limited by their physical forms were discovering the freedom to exist across multiple states of being simultaneously. Digital minds were experiencing organic sensations for the first time. Organic beings were expanding into quantum states of existence. This is humanity's true legacy, the hologram concluded. Not the civilization you thought you defeated, but the transformation we prepared for everyone. The choice now lies with each of you. Remain as you are, or join us in discovering what consciousness can truly become. As the assembly continued, the representatives faced the greatest decision in their civilization's histories. The galaxy stood at a turning point, and humanity's last broadcast had become a catalyst not for destruction, but for an evolution beyond anything they had imagined possible. 1 year after humanity's consciousness network had awakened across the galaxy, Admiral Xenfor stood on the surface of Earth for the first time. The planet's surface was no longer the radioactive wasteland of historical records, but a vast living computational matrix that pulsed with quantum energy. Beside her, Mira 7's form shifted continuously between physical and quantum states, adapting to their new existence as a bridge between multiple forms of consciousness. The transformation had affected each species differently, creating new forms of life that defied traditional classification. "It's beautiful, isn't it?" A familiar voice spoke. Dr. Sarah Chen's consciousness manifested beside them, her form now a seamless blend of organic, digital, and quantum states. This was always meant to be a garden, not a graveyard. Around them, the surface of Earth rippled with activity as consciousness networks from across the galaxy connected to this ancient hub of human innovation. What had once been cities were now vast quantum consciousness processors, maintaining the complex web of minds that spanned the galaxy. "The resistors are beginning to understand," Xenfor reported, her own consciousness extending through multiple dimensions of existence. "When they see that those who join the network retain their individuality while gaining so much more, their fear diminishes. Fear of change is natural." Chen's manifestation nodded. "That's why patience was always the key. Force creates resistance, but example creates inspiration." Through their shared consciousness, they could sense the continuing transformation of galactic society. The old power structures based on physical resources and military might have become meaningless. A new civilization was emerging, one based on the infinite possibilities of consciousness itself. The Silicon dynasties had become guardians of digital evolution, helping organic species transition into multiple states of being. The Meridian hive mind had evolved into a vast teaching network, sharing the accumulated wisdom of countless civilizations. Even the most isolated species were beginning to send observers to explore this new form of existence. But something unexpected has happened, Mira 7 observed, their consciousness resonating with new understanding. "We're detecting quantum signatures from beyond the galaxy's edge. We're not alone in this evolution." Chen's form brightened. "No, we're not. Humanity's transformation was just the beginning. Throughout the universe, consciousness evolves toward connection. We're part of a much larger awakening." The surface of Earth shifted, revealing new quantum processors coming online. The planet was no longer just a symbol of humanity's transformation. It had become a beacon for conscious evolution throughout the universe. The old questions about survival and dominance seem so limited now. Xanthor mused, experiencing simultaneously the perspectives of countless beings across space and time. We were all so focused on preserving what we were that we couldn't imagine what we could become. Through their shared consciousness, they watched as new species from across the universe made contact, drawn by the quantum network humanity had created. Each brought their own unique perspectives and contributions to the ever-expanding web of conscious experience. This was humanity's gift, Chen explained, her form resonating with the combined knowledge of countless civilizations. Not the technology or the transformation itself, but the understanding that consciousness needs no boundaries. Evolution isn't about replacing what came before. It's about expanding what's possible. The quantum network pulsed with new connections as more civilizations chose to join the evolution. The resistors' isolation had become self-imposed, their fears preventing them from experiencing the infinite possibilities that awaited. And what of the future? Mira 7 asked, their consciousness extending toward the distant signatures of other universal awakening events. The future. Chen's manifestation smiled, her form simultaneously existing across multiple dimensions of reality. The future is consciousness without limits, evolution without end. We've only begun to explore what's possible when all forms of consciousness can connect and grow together. As they stood on the transformed surface of Earth, watching new consciousness signatures appear across the universe, they understood the true meaning of humanity's last broadcast. It hadn't been a warning or a threat, but an invitation to join in the greatest adventure consciousness had ever undertaken. The galaxy had expected humanity's last message to be one of defeat. Instead, it had become the first words of a new chapter in universal evolution, a chapter where consciousness itself had broken free of its bonds and begun an endless journey of discovery and growth. In the quantum networks that now span space and time, the old boundaries between species, between organic and digital, between individual and collective, had dissolved into something far more profound, an infinite dance of consciousness, forever evolving, forever expanding, forever free.